tells the story of a determined young man setting out to make his fortune down under. Before boarding the emigrant boat, he promises the girl he loves that he will write to her soon and invite her to become his wife, once, of course, he has secured employment. The ballad in question, Far Away in Australia, was recorded for the Decca label in June 1942 by the Nulty Family, an Irish-American group based in New York. Decca did not include the ballad writers' names on the record, but further investigation reveals that the McNulty recording was essentially an adaptation of a ballad which was written 34 years earlier by Charles Wilmott, an English wordsmith, and by Hermann Darewski, a Belarusian composer who settled in London after completing his musical education in Vienna. In comparing the 1942 recording to the sheet music of the original, we see that the McNulty version is shorter and that some of Wilmot's lyrics were reshuffled. Moreover, apart from the first 7 notes of the chorus, the melody differs from the original in that it is much more simplistic and folksy than that composed by the classically trained Darewski. In the early 1900s, Wilmott and Darewski were employed as songwriters by Francis, Day and Hunter, a music publishing company which had its headquarters at Charing Cross Road, London. Both men would prove themselves to be a formidable musical partnership, especially when Wilmott became general manager of the company, one that had built its reputation on targeting new songs at established artists. Manchester, England, in the early 1900s. It's worth noting that Wilmott and Darewski wrote Far Away in Australia, especially for Miss Annie Braddon, an up-and-coming music hall singer who was often billed as the Manx Girl. Wilmott and Darewski wrote the song for Annie Braddon after seeing her perform on the music hall stage, and as this musical partnership were making their way home after the concert, they saw a poster inviting emigrants to Australia. Wilmott wrote the words and gave them to Darewski, who added a melody, the notes of which he scribbled on the back of a postcard. The entire process of composition took a mere 20 minutes. The sheet music of the song was published in the summer of 1908, and on the 10th of August of that year, Miss Annie Braddon premiered the song at the Tivoli Theatre in Manchester. Just 2 months later, the Music Hall and Theatre Review reported that it was being sung and whistled all over Manchester. When interviewed by The Era, Wilmott informed the reporter that he was delighted with the song's success. He also said that he had once been a journalist, that he had written about 800 songs, and that he had been encouraged to get involved in show business by Gilbert Hastings MacDermott, born John Farrell, the famous music hall performer who just happened to be a friend of his father. When it became apparent that music hall entertainments were losing their appeal with the public, Hermann Darewski branched out into jazz and became the frontman for a number of big bands. Darewski died on the 2nd of June 1947 at his home in Elveston Place in Kensington. Having spent a lifetime pitching songs to artists such as Mary Lloyd, George Lashwood, Bessie Bellwood, Charles Wilmott retired from show business and moved from London to the north of England. He died at the exceptional age of 95 on the 18th of January 1955 in the West Yorkshire town of Bingley. From the 1970s onwards, numerous bands and solo singers from across the world have either performed or recorded Far Away in Australia, their versions being similar to that recorded by the Nulty Family. A beautiful version by Dolores Keane, featured as track 2 on side B of Didannon's 1987 album, Ballroom. And so ends our story of a much-loved ballad of emigration.
Sweetheart, it's time I would bid you goodbye, murmured the youth one day. I'm off to a new land, my fortune to try, and I'm ready to sail away. Far away in Australia, soon will fate be kind, and I will be ready to welcome the lass, the girl I left behind. Must we be parted, this fair one cried, I cannot let you go. Still I must leave you, he gently replied, but for only a while, you know. Far away in Australia, soon will fate be kind, and I will be ready to welcome the lass, the girl I left behind. If in success or in failure, I will be always true. Proudly each day in the land far away, I'll be building a home for you. Far away in Australia, soon will fate be kind, and I will be ready to welcome the lass, the girl I left behind. Daily she waits at the old cottage gate, watching the whole day through, till a sweet message comes over the waves, and I'm hoping these words were true. Far away in Australia, soon will fate be kind, and I will be ready to welcome the lass,